Howdy, neighbor. So, I don't believe I've talked about this before, but I love Pokemon. And over its many years and many different media franchises it's taken over, the one I've always cared about the most were the games. But somewhat shortly behind that is the anime. And while I've got other plans to talk about aspects of the games at some point, today I wanted to focus on the show. And as such, the only thing I thought would be natural to do is to rank every single episode of the anime. Is what I would say if I was insane. I actually value my health and time, so I'm not gonna do something ridiculous and stupid like that. Instead, I'll do something more simple. How about I rank all the intros to the anime? Now, a couple things I should preface before starting this. 1. These are only the English intros. These are the ones I'm most familiar with, and these are the ones everyone knows, so it only felt like the most sense to do these ones. Maybe I'll do another one with Japanese later down the line. Probably not, though. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. 2. These are only going off the actual intros themselves, not the songs. What this means is that I'm going off what actually plays before every episode of the show. After all, that's the actual part that matters. 3. In the bottom corner of the screen, I'll have its placement on the list, as well as what tier they'd go on a hypothetical tier list, just to help streamline things and also answer the latter question for anyone who's curious. And 4. These are all my opinions. If you disagree, well, it's not my fault you're wrong. And I feel that covers all the intro stuff. So, let's just kick off with 25, Diamond and Pearl. If there's anything this ranking did for me, it shocked me with the fact that as a collection, the Sinnoh intros are really kind of underwhelming, and nowhere's is more apparent than with the original Diamond and Pearl theme song. This one just feels really clunky, I guess, namely with the genre they go with. I'm not a big fan of the pseudo rap style they try to go for here. I just don't think it especially fits. Also, the lyrics are really weird as well. Like, most of the time it sounds less like they're singing, and more like they're just trying to explain the story and how the Pokemon world works. I'm just not a big fan at all, really. And it's really disappointing way to start off a Sinnoh anime. 24, Battle Frontier. This is probably a hot take, and let me just say real fast that the rest of Home will be very high on this list. I just don't really like how this one sounds. Like, maybe it's because I'm comparing it to the rest of Hoenn and its stacked lineup of intros, but even on its own, it's kind of Like, I can admit there's definitely inherently nothing wrong with this intro, and I guess I can understand why someone would put it up as one of their favorites, but personally, for me, I just can't click with it. 23, Battle Dimensions. Yeah, I've got nothing for this one really. It sounds a little too low-key for my liking, which may sound hypocritical later on the list, but those intros almost had a sense of hope to them, I suppose. Something else added to them that made them feel grander and better. Like, they made me feel both pumped for the show and as if I myself could do whatever I wanted. This one just sort of sounds not like that. Also, the Battle Dimensions at the end just doesn't sound natural to me. Like, it sounds like they were trying to throw the title of the season into the song and just threw it in at the end all haphazardly because they had nothing better to do. 22, Orange Islands. When stacked up against its predecessor, Orange Islands has some massive boots to fill, to say the least, and while it didn't fall flat, it didn't exactly land a triple backflip either. I just think it's kinda neat, but nothing spectacular. 21, Sinnoh League Victors. I promise I don't have some unthinkable hatred towards Sinnoh or anything, it's just a lot of the intros are really mid. I actually think that it's pretty decent overall. I like the lyrics a lot as well, and it does get me pumped to watch Ash take on the Sinnoh Pokemon League. However, the instrumental to it just doesn't work for me. It's not even that it's too low-key or anything, it's just too slow. Like, I guess it fits the seriousness of the season. 20, Ultra Adventures. Okay, so this one is just weird. It's the most different theme song yet. Most of the other ones go for a high energy pop or slightly slower rock, but Ultra Adventures goes for this weird tribal sort of sound. Like, I don't dislike it. I think it works well enough for a low lot, and honestly, I can appreciate it for being different than every other Pokemon intro, though I just don't think it works that well as an intro to get super hyped up for what's to come, at least not for me. 19, Master Quest. This is like classic Pokemon theme songs, not in the sense of it being one of the originals or anything, but rather because it just feels like what a lot of Pokemon theme songs were up until Black and White. The past couple of intros is alright, but nothing super special. I do really like this one shot of Ash running up to the Coliseum though. I don't know, just kinda cool looking shot. 18. Sun and Moon. This one had to grow on me a bit, but over time I've learned to enjoy it. It takes the traditional pop sound that a lot of Pokemon intros do, and meshes it with a pretty fitting tropical sound as well. I do think it's very pleasant on the ears, and the shots here as well are also pretty fun. No complaints in that department. The reason why it's low compared to the rest of the intro is just sort of because I'm more a fan of the music and the other ones, I guess. Like, this one is somewhat different, and while different is not bad, don't get me wrong here, different usually doesn't exactly mean it's going to be one of my favorites. 17. Master Journeys. Master Journeys just sort of feels off. Like, look no further than the first 5 seconds. It's a calm, relaxing little melody with soft lyrics, and then it immediately jumps into this really upbeat and fast as hell music. Though, after it does rapidly change like that, I think the rest of it is really good. I like the visuals throughout it a lot. They're just very pleasing on the eyes. It's sort of catchy, I suppose. So while it's good overall, it's just not anything really special compared to the rest of the intros. 16. Advanced Challenge. I like the song in this one a lot. It is very nice and works very well as a hype song for the show. Animation is solid throughout. I especially like the ending of it showing a bunch of prevalent Hoenn Pokemon performing their attacks, and especially this one shot of Machamp because it is very funny to me. Actually, this one shot of Pikachu is the greatest thing ever, so no, never mind, it's the new number 1. I don't make the rules, I just follow them. 15. Journeys. Like Sun and Moon's intro, Journeys took me a little to get used to, but after listening to it a couple times, I do really like it. The lyrics feel very fitting to the show, with the whole traveling around the world and friendship aspects that Journeys exemplifies more than the other seasons of the series. Not to mention, the song is just straight up good. 14. X and Y. I do have a real nostalgic spot for this. Oh my god, X and Y came out almost 10 years ago. The X and Y intro is very good. I really love how all the visuals look. It's so colorful and has little animations during the characters' introductions that perfectly show their personalities, and it's all so charming and cool. My only real issue with this is that it relies a lot off the original intro. Like, yes, it is fantastic, yes, it is iconic, but I wish they could have done something a little more to spice it up a bit. And it's not even the full song either, they're missing like half of it. 13. Black and White. Okay, think whatever you'd like about Unova's anime, but all the intros kinda go crazy. We're at the halfway point of the ranking, if not further, and we're just now getting to our first Unova intro. I do have a bit of a soft spot for this one as well, since it was my first Pokemon intro I ever heard that wasn't the obvious, and I'm not sure how to feel about the 3D animation, to be fully real with you. It's not bad or anything, it just kind of looks odd that they went with this for this one intro. Like, none of the other Black and White's intros even have this style of animation. They're all 2D as well. Again, not bad, just interesting. 12. Ultra Adventures. I'm having a hard time putting my thoughts for this one into words, but frankly the best way I can describe it is Ultra Adventures done in a way I like a lot more. Probably because it plays more into the traditional pop as well as the tribal music, but I like that traditional pop, therefore I like this one more than the rest of Alola. 11. Johto Journeys. If any intro is as iconic as the original, it's probably Johto Journeys. And frankly, I won't lie, I do really love this one a lot. More than almost any other intro, and I can easily understand why someone would put this up as their number 1. But for me, I just feel like a couple intros beat it out for me. Probably the main reason why is that it just feels like it goes on for a little too long as an intro. I'd say cut it down a little bit and you'd be good, but as it stands, it's still really great. 10. Johto League. I know what I just said about X and Y's intro earlier, but in my defense, Johto League does the main thing I wanted X and Y to do, that being give me more than just a remix of the original song. The first couple of lyrics may be ripped straight from it, but the majority of the song is completely new, and it's still kick-ass rock remix of the original as well, which is awesome. How could that not be awesome? I love the original intro, I love rock. Give me a rock version of the original intro, I'm going to love it. 9. Galactic Battles. I know I gave the other songs some flack for being slow, but I feel like this one really works in its favor. it sort of gives off a sense of hope and victory in it to me, and it also feels very alien-like, which is very fitting for Diamond and Pearl, I feel. 8. Rival Destinies. I feel like this one might get a bit of hate for placing this so high, but I can't help but love this one. It feels oddly nostalgic, I will admit that, since Unova was the series I grew up with alongside Kalos, so it only makes sense that I have some fondness towards it. But even taking my bias out of the equation, Rival Destinies does have a genuinely fantastic intro. The song is very catchy, that's really it, but the song is one of my favorites. The only thing that knocks it down for me is the fact that all the animation is just reused from clips from the show. You know, original animation is not a bad thing. I kinda like original animation in my intros. 7. Ultimate Journeys. God, more than most, if not any other intro, this one just feels so angelic and poetic. This feels like the finale. Maybe it's because I know this will be the last theme ever to introduce Ash, but it just feels so comforting. It sounds like a somber yet heartwarming song they'd play as a finale. This is the curtain call. After this is all done and over with, you can finally rest. I absolutely love this one. 6. Advance. This one just hits different. So, you know how in the Diamond and Pearl intro I mentioned how it felt like a weird way to explain the story of the show? Well, the start of this feels like the best way they could have done it, as well as the song itself just being really catchy and awesome. Also, this shot right here with the rising sun is just so cool. I really love this shot a lot, and frankly, that goes for the entire intro. 5. Adventures in Unova. I really love this one. Like, in terms of animation alone, it's one of the best in my opinion, but in terms of the music, it's also one of the best, which are the two things I'm mostly looking at, if not exclusively looking at, so doing a fantastic job in both categories is already going to help you a lot. Going more in depth on the song, it just feels so heroic. And like, the lyrics themselves aren't lying either. We fought so hard to get where we are holds so much weight even back then, and holds so much more nowadays. What a fantastic way to end Unova. 4. Be a hero. I feel like I'm running out of ways to say, it's really fun and cool, it fits the series well, I love it a lot. But yeah, that's the best way to describe Be a Hero. Also, if you're wondering why I'm calling the song by the title of the song, instead of the title of the series like I've done for the rest of them, it's because X and Y Seasons 1 and 2 are both named X and Y, instead of having separate titles like every other season of the show. So I just had to call this one the song's name, just so things wouldn't get confusing. 3. Indigo League. I mean, come on, how could I not love this one? It's the one that started it all, and when you think of Pokemon, this is one of, if not the first thing that comes to your head. And for good reason too. This intro is still fantastic almost 30 years later. It's catchy, it's iconic, it works super well as an intro to the series. I know I gave Johto Journeys flack for being a minute long, but Indigo League doesn't feel as repetitive in all honesty. Though, if I could have shortened it, it would have been nice, but it doesn't bother me at all really. 2. Advanced Battle. Advanced Battle is probably the fan favorite one, at least from what I've seen, and yeah, I can understand why. It's just so cool. It gets me pumped every time I hear it, and just makes me want to have battles of a lifetime. Some of the shots in this one are really cool as well. Yeah, this one is also a minute long, but I can forgive this one because it's badass, and I like it more than the other 2-minute long songs. Also, every time they shout Advanced Battle, it feels like I'm getting an adrenaline rush. So good. 1. XYZ. And here we are, the peak of all Pokemon intros. Fitting how it's also my personal favorite of the season of the show as well. How poetic. Firstly, the music. I'm gonna be honest, it's badass as all hell, and it gets me more hyped and more pumped for any other intro the show does, and more pumped every time I listen to it. And the visuals are spectacular. I don't know if I'm alone on this, but for me personally, this is easily the best visuals of any opening in the series. Like, look at this shot of the Zygarde cell running away from these monstrous hands before leaping into Bonnie's arms, showing all the main characters ready to face off against whatever's in front of them, before showing all the threats that stand in front of them this season. It's such a good shot in an already fantastic intro. That's not to mention other shots like the Froakie evolution or Greninja vs. Sceptile. It's just a fantastic intro all around, and I have no regrets calling it the best Pokemon intro. And that was every Pokemon intro ranked. What have I learned from this ranking? You people are really sleeping on Unova, I'm telling you.